No, I'm not scissoring with
Is
you.
annoying.
Mine's
I gotta.
Someone said we're all getting shift knobs on in the tree. You're gonna give us all shift knobs.
I'm gonna kick you. I'm gonna shift knob you right now.
Yeah, at the end of the year.
Come down and shift knob you. She gonna shift knob me.
That's what I heard.
Rock, paper, scissors.
This was a car that we just finished all-wheel drive setup on. It's going to be an H2B all-wheel drive CRX. So the back end of it's done. We just got the all-wheel drive mount kit in, as well as the H2B adapter. So we're going to go ahead and start pulling the transmission on this so that we can move to the next step of it and get the dimensions for the drive shaft. So just getting everything up and out of the way.
Beginning stages.
Yep. That way we can get the trans out.
And this is the
B-series.
the B-series trans, so that's the transfer case.
Transfer case.
So, alright, here we go. You guys remember this? This is the CRX H22. That's going H2B. Came in as a front wheel drive drag car. He already removed all this stuff out of the way, and he put an aluminum back, and we made the all-wheel drive kit around that. And it looks pretty solid. You guys can check. I'll put it together right here so you guys can see what video was done. Engine is out.
This is the full H series out of the CRX. We decided to pull it all because we may need to bang a little bit for the adapter plate, so we want to pull it and put it together. And this motor was very, very easy to pull, otherwise we probably wouldn't have pulled it. He had a really nice wire harness. What's it called, Mike? The
He's got a rye wire.
oh yeah, the rye. So it's like a really quick disconnect plug and a couple lines, and the fuel was on an AN fitting, so we just popped the AN fitting. So we're like, you know what, we'll just drop it down, get it all nice together, and then we're gonna put it back up. So we're still waiting for a clutch and the PLM adapter plate. Ready, Mike?
Easy as 1, 2, 3, guys. Swiftly, quickly.
Easy as H22A1. So this is the H2B all-wheel drive CRV transmission. So B series all-wheel drive CRV transmission to H series engine. We have the PLM adapter here, and we forgot to get some footage for you, but I'm gonna try to explain it the best way I can. Everything does work for the all-wheel drive transmission, except there is slight modifications. Basically, you have to modify the plate a little bit for the starter. This, where you see here where this shiny billet plate comes, where it reaches the starter hole, you have to modify it mildly, and I may be able to show it to you later on a different plate, so I can grab a different plate later in the video and show you guys. But you have to modify here slightly, and then you have to also modify down here in this corner. Yeah, Mike could explain it to you. But
so back here, this plate actually comes all the way down and across here. So in order for it to fit the transfer case housing, which is going to go here, we actually had to shave this part back so that the transfer case housing is able to bolt up.
Nice.
Yeah, and then up here, the starter on the all-wheel drive is on the opposite side, which is the reason why that has to be cut. But the bolts on this side do not need to be used, which is perfectly okay. There's a bolt here and here. We're not going to utilize the bolt in the center because that is actually where the starter would have gone on a front-wheel drive transmission. So we're not going to utilize that at all. And like I said, I may be able to explain it to you a little bit later in the video. But the next thing we have here is the mounts from, I forget which ones these were. Hasport, yeah. All-wheel drive B-series mounts, and the all-wheel drive mount stuff will work with this kit. So the Hasport all-wheel drive mounts will work for that. So what Mike's doing over here, he could explain, yeah.
So this is part of the PLM H2B kit. What this actually does is this relocates the bracket for the intermediate shaft, because the one for the H series would bolt up on the back here, but the B series, what you have to do is you actually have to grind into the block and part of the oil pan in order to clear it, because when you insert the intermediate shaft, it won't clear. So this is a B series intermediate shaft that you'll use, but as you can see here, it has a little bit of an angle pitch, so I'm just slowly grinding back so that I can get it straight and then shift the intermediate shaft straight in, and then you'll see all 3 of these bolts will bolt right up.
And then the last part of the engine's on the opposite side. So this was an H series mount, which is right somewhere. I don't know where it is. Right here. Oh, it's over there. Yeah. So this was the old H series mount. No, it's not. It's right here. So this is the old H series mount. This is what came off. So this was, I think this was, I don't know, no name brand company mount he used to have, but this is what held the H series. So now basically, since there's a spacer over there, the engine is going to get moved, which is why Mike is doing what he's doing and why we're working together to do this as well. So this moves the engine mount into a different location to offset the space from the spacer. So this is now switching from a H bracket to a B series bracket. So basically the only thing you have H left is the physical engine. Everything that adapted to it is all B series. So H engine, B series, everything else to get it into the physical car.
This came in a PLM kit?
Yeah, this comes in the PLM kit, and then there's one spot later that you'll see, guys will see later, that comes with the PLM kit, but it's just a spacer for the master cylinder. No, slave cylinder, I'm sorry. Clutch slave cylinder. It's this little spacer, but that's going to come later when the engine actually gets into the car.
Nice.
So what we're working on here now is we're going to have to cut out a little section here from the frame rail so that we can actually knock this in and then weld the seams together in order to clear the H series with the new H2B adapter kit, because when we put that in between the transmission and the engine, it's actually going to shift the motor over this way. So with the way it is now, it was already almost touching the crank pulley on the side of the frame rail. So what we're doing is we're just cutting a little tab here along this, and then going to cut a little tab down here, and then hammer this in flat, and then weld that entire surface
To brace it up. Nice.
Yeah, just so that we can brace it, and at the same time we're getting that clearance that we need for the crank pulley.
Okay, cool.
So, I think they explained earlier why we had to cut this thing out here. This is actually for an H motor, since we're doing a B series,
H2B.
H2B, the mounts and all sits a little bit different. So, instead of cutting all this away, we kept this, but we cut off the ears because this will actually support it a little bit better. And what we're going to do is we're going to make another support here. I tacked this thing on here. Right here, both this, and then we're gonna go weld it. But before we do that, we're gonna brace this with this all together. So we're gonna make another bracket here to brace everything together for the strength of it. Yeah, so everything is all, so we got the engine side on, the T bracket on, so that, so this way here we know it's sitting properly where it's supposed to be sitting, yeah. And these are the all-wheel drive mounts, so just we got that done. Back there, that one. So now we went and did this one here on this side. Once we get everything all done up, then we're going to go back and clean everything up, shape everything, get it real nice, you know, clean everything up.
Put back everything on.
Yeah, and then
Drive
paint
shaft.
it. We still got to do this side over here because we had a cut for this pulley right here.
Yeah, he was shaving it down earlier.
Yeah,
Like
so
crazy.
we're going to bang a little bit more, and then we're going to weld it.
Yeah.
For the structure of the frame and all that. So.
Nice.
So I'm gonna do this, got everything all tacked it up. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna drop the motor, weld everything on here, weld it, clean everything up. And this side do the same thing, then put the motor back together. And then start putting everything back together. Also, we gotta do this right here. Cause he had the shift box and all that, so we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do about here for the shifter and all that. Cause I don't know what shift box he's using. I know he got the cables already, unless he wants to like use our you know.
use our brackets.
Yep.
And then you use
Yes.
the TSX or our cord
Look at
shifter.
this. Look at this. So
It's banging on the thing.
yeah. So look. So it's sitting against right here.
Yeah.
So that tells me that it needs to be cut off.
Right here, right?
No, we're not gonna cut. We're gonna see. We're gonna cut here a little bit here.
Yeah.
Cut this off a little bit because you don't need the whole thing. How
The whole
this
thing.
one is like this. Cut it off here and see where we go. See if it hits. And if it still hits, then we can just cut this off a little
Another
bit.
piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dropping that transfer on.
There you go. Let's. Oh, perfect.
Perfect. Now look at that H2B. You guys remember that part right there where he had to shave almost all the way down to the bolts? That just to get this to fit the whole setup. And now the transfer is on. A straight shot to the diff. Look at that. Look at that. Straight my yacht. So stay tuned. Everything's coming together. Here's the bottom side of the H2B kit. You guys can see the bolts, what it goes up to. You know. Swaps coming out to freshen up the engine bay, weld up some more stuff, and you know, make it look nice. Already got that mount in there. Yeah. And there she goes. Show you guys earlier. That's what the mock-up looks like. We're gonna weld it all up, make everything look better. We're gonna weld up here also, brace it up. Yep.
All right, and then so over on this side, what we're gonna do here is there's some sort of previous repair that someone did in the past. It looks like they just took some chunks of metal there and then just kind of welded it in to reinforce the frame rail. I don't know if the frame was bent previously or what happened, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in, line this out, cut this entire area out square, and then we're gonna go ahead and reinforce that. So we're gonna weld a new sheet of metal in, make sure it's flush, and then just get everything cleaned up here for this.
Make sure everything's pretty solid.
Yep.
Hey guys, I've been just grinding down the block for the axle clearance, so I just wanted to show you guys. You saw this up here before, that was for the half shaft, and now to pop the axle in, you have to grind down over here more and down to the oil pan. Like you can see, there's a little divot there because that's for the clearance for this axle to spin where the boot has a little bit more room. So on the H series engine, we have to obviously, this is touching a little bit, which is okay. It's not pushing in because you want to make sure it easily goes in and out with your hands, and there's no like, you don't have to, yeah, you don't want to, yeah, it's a solid piece. This doesn't move, but you want to make sure it can go in and out with your hand easily, and not like you're putting it in and you're banging it in, because then it's gonna torque the half shaft sideways. Yeah. So now it's all squared to go. Mike's cleaning up the engine bay, getting it ready to go in one last time.
Yep.
So we're getting the headers finished up here for the H2B. Customer had a set of all motor, like long tube big headers. So what we're doing is on the bottom half here, where it runs from the 4 into the 2 and then the 2 into the 1. On the way it was originally set up, it just came straight out from here into a 3-inch V-band. But with the all-wheel drive stuff, with the transfer case housing, as you see here, what it does is this actually brings it out here. So what we had to do is basically build a couple of high cuts out this way and just kind of customize the exhaust, cut off that flange just so that we can bring everything out so that it clears the transfer case housing, and then so it doesn't interfere with the drive shaft. So we're still going to weld a V-band flange here, and then have a little short with a, a dump coming down from there. But we got this part done, so we're going to go ahead and throw it on the car, make sure everything fits and we got the proper clearance that we want, and then we'll finish welding everything up from there.
Sweet, nice. Yeah, you cut this one up.
All of them.
Rocks at best. Got it to work though.
It's the third time you put it on. I'm sorry, I'm just being honest. Listen, we put it on like 4 times just to get this clip. Y'all, tell me what you think about this clip. What do you think this is the one?
Final fitment.
Right there, yep. Don't put all the bolts in.
Hey, you know what?
No,
Sone,
it's ready.
You know what Sone said? Sone said he's not leaving here like this.
I don't blame him. Look at that.
I mean, it's good. The customer's watching. It was good, but we gotta make it an excellent.
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, whoever 3D printed this did a great job, but
No, Chad made that.
He did.
Chad's racing.
Chad be making the
Performance.
strongest thing. We're gonna raise this up to check it out. Show you guys all the clearances.
Did he make this?
Somebody made it for him.
Cool looking, man.
Oh, look at all the clearances. Oh man, I mean, you can do my N54 pipes.
Yo, hold on. I think he's gonna have a leak though. It might leak right
Yeah, a
now.
little exhaust.
No, it ain't well up yet.
Use the RTD.
No, we're just hacking it.
Red
No,
RTD.
JB Weld,
Done.
all day.
Our toothpaste, when it dry, you hold it.
Wrap that shit.
No, JB Weld header wrap. We're good.
Dude, I love the way you guys think here. You guys are like phenomenal.
More better. Got everything welded up on the exhaust here for the H2B. So this is all motor car. So we just adapted the 1320 exhaust that he had on there so that it can fit around the transfer case housing here to clear. So we had to do some pie cuts there, just angle it around. And then now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a little 3-inch turn down. So I'm just bolting up the V-band so that we can do a couple more pie cuts and then make a turn down from there.
Thank you.
Too late now. Is there any like a
Like and subscribe. Check it out, guys. A lot of improvements that we did. Engine out, engine in. We got the drive shaft measurements, 68 1/4.
So this part in the front here of the frame rail where it kind of humps out where the 2 bolts would go underneath for the traction bar here, you know, it's running into the side of that. So what we're doing is we're just notching out the side here. We're gonna flatten this in a little bit further and then plate this bottom portion here just to bring it back further so that we can get the clearance that we need, because as you can see from here, this was before we started tapping into it. You know, it's just barely lines up here, but when we go to put the alternator on it, it wouldn't even clear with this area up here. So we're notching this out. We're gonna push this in a little bit and then frame everything else out, weld it, and then get it all together so that we can fit the alternator in and get the car started back up.
H2B in a CRX, crazy, right?
No fun in the CRX. So we ran into some more clearance issues with the alternator. So what we're gonna have to do now is we actually cut a hole here in the side of the frame rail. And what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna box it in so that we're able to actually keep the clearance that we need, because the pulley for the alternator actually sits just inside the frame rail a little bit. And then where the line is here that you can see, the belt rubs a little bit there. So we're gonna tap this in some here just to get a little bit more clearance, and then box this in so that the pulley is able to sit right here inside the frame rail where we need it to. Because as you can see on the front of it, it literally clears to about the first thread here. So we're just cleaning everything up, gonna, you know, box this whole area in so that this fits inside there flush.
Yeah.
And then once we're done with that, go ahead and weld everything in place, you know, paint this up nice, and then box this bottom portion and we'll be good to go.
Trying to see if this thing lines up. Do a test fit real quick. Put up the bracket. See if it lines up. You gotta hold the belt.
Yeah, so that's going to be the other challenge when you have to ever change a serpentine belt on this thing, is you literally have to put the belt on the alternator and then push it in, because this thing goes inside the frame rail. So if you don't put this on first, then you're never going to get the alternator on.
I'm guessing all the H2B guys have to do similar setup, right?
Not in like the EGs and EKs, just in the
EF chassis.
EF and CRX chassis.
Is this the first
Just because of the clearance.
First H2B CRX? It's not, I doubt it, but
No, there's plenty of them out there, but like Goofy built Shane,
Yeah.
he did the same thing, but on his, I think he just like literally he cut like this whole area
out and,
out and then just boxed it in.
yeah.
So now, as you can see, we got the clearance that we need for the belt. So this way, it's not going to rub on the frame rail there. So we got that knocked in. So the other piece that I boxed out, we're going to go ahead and weld that in. As you can see here, I'm just holding the alternator, and you can see how far it actually sits into the frame rail.
Yeah, you can see. Here it is.
So it actually sits inside the frame rail. So we're going to go ahead and box that in just to make sure everything's closed in, secured there, and then also you don't have any water, moisture getting in. So we're going to weld that, seam seal it, get everything else painted up, and have it all ready to go.
Yep. Okay, so we had this thing here. You can see it was cut away, and we went ahead and welded it. And now what we got to do is clean it up. That's to clear the alternator. For the pulley right here, we had to go in a little bit more because it was hitting. And the same thing right here where the belt was at, so we had to bang it in. So now we're going to clean everything up here, and then go ahead and paint it, get it all looking all nice and all that.
So don't
but I
rust or
wanted
nothing.
to show you on this. I don't think we kind of went over it. What we did here with this H2B kit. So this is, we had to notch this right here. I'll show you here on this plate over here. And then instead of the starter being back here, now the starter is on here. So you have to notch this part here, which is right here. So if you're looking at it back here, it's this part right here that we had to cut out. Right there. And then this part,
Up there, for the
there it goes,
starter.
like this. This part here, usually where the starter goes, back here. Now it's on this side here. So we're gonna have to cut this thing out here. And that's what we did with this one right here. See where the starter's at?
The starter's at right
So,
there.
but everything else is pretty much the same. So that's the only thing different between the front wheel drive and the all-wheel drive,
H2B.
H2B plate.
All right, nice. This is coming together, guys. And as you guys know, we had to shave down a little bit here and there,
Yep.
make
So-
it fit.
Pretty much we're gonna get everything up on here today. Get it running and put the header back on that we modified, and then we're gonna get the drive shaft on, and this is ready, pretty much ready to go.
Yep.
So it should be out here this week or next week
Yes,
after
it
the
is.
drive shaft comes
After
in.
Josh have come in.
Yeah.
So you guys are already seeing this all mocked up right here. So I'm gonna get you guys back on the other video to show you guys the startup. This has been not really a hectic, but this is what you gotta do for H2B going inside a EF chassis.
Yep, but it's well worth it. It's well worth it.
It's worth it because
Yeah, at the
light
end.
chassis, but you gotta do a lot of adjustment as you guys seen. So stick around, like,
Cool.
subscribe,
Brought to you by Mr. Coffee.
Mr. Coffee.
All right, so if you want to give us a gift, it's a gift of giving.
Merry Christmas.
All-wheel drive in the lane in the left one. S1 all-wheel drive, got them Honda skeletons. S1 all-wheel drive, got them Honda skeletons. We'll have you gripping, don't get caught slipping. S1 all-wheel drive, got them Honda skeletons.
Them wheels are always gripping, them wheels are never slipping.
S1 all-wheel drive, got them Honda skeletons.
Them wheels are always
We'll have you
gripping.
gripping, don't get caught slipping. Even on the straights, yeah, warming up that A6. In Florida got the street cred, we rolling down the street quick. Got that MSD switch, B series or a ZC, and that LSV tech, hella clean, yeah. Tell them where to meet at. Yeah, we go to Mexico, racing for the pink slips, and ain't no 12 to catch us. So K-swap the world till we spin the globe. K20 MR2 and SX CRX with the K24, reppin' that EF.